All right, so our presentation is on important industries for the future economic growth in the USA, and this is by the YEI resources team. So in this presentation, we'll be talking about three different important industries. So we'll be talking first about healthcare, and then about technology, and lastly, we'll talk about renewable energy. So let's just get into it. So given the recent coronavirus pandemic, the healthcare industry has been put into the spotlight as one of the most important industries in the USA and around the world. As the population in the USA and frankly across the entire world continues to grow, demand for healthcare will naturally continue to increase, which will in turn increase the demand for healthcare workers. As we can see historically from the chart on the chart to the right, which compares the growth of healthcare industries to other industries in the United States, we can see that the growth of healthcare has consistently outpaced growth in other industries. And if we'll look from that dip, if you can see that dip to the right, we'll see that even the healthcare industry was largely unaffected by the Great Recession. And this trend is only expected to continue to increase. And right now, healthcare occupations currently occupy 16 out of the top 30 fastest growing jobs in the United States. And in the future, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, we expect a 16% growth by 2030. Healthcare for a long time has been a solid part of the United States GDP, being 17% in 2018. Given the onset of the coronavirus pandemic, healthcare grew to be 19.7% of the United States GDP in 2020. And compared to the previously stated 17% in 2018, that is a substantial growth. Additionally, the profits of the industry only continue to rise, at least in the USA, from 14 billion in 2019 to a projected 28 billion in 2024. Large healthcare and medicine corporations maintain a large presence in some of the largest stock indices, being weighted at 13% in the S&P 500. In the future, the healthcare industry is very likely to stay strong, given the fundamental fact that people have to stay healthy. This has kept demand strong in the past and will likely keep demand for healthcare services strong in the future as well. Additionally, new technologies in industry provide further opportunities for the growth in the industry, including incorporating new technologies such as artificial intelligence into how patients receive care. Research into new types of vaccines and treatments also proceed at breakneck speeds, as can be evidenced by the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Given all of this, it is safe to say that the healthcare industry is and will continue to be an integral part of future American growth.
Technology is a huge part of the economy in the USA right now. Companies such as Google, Apple, and Amazon dominate the Fortune 500 and stock indexes such as the S&P 500. In the S&P 500, 8 out of the 10 of the top stocks relate to information technology and software. As an industry, technology and software in particular has a very bright future. Virtually every sector relies on software to some extent, from the huge player databases in video games to the cash registers in a local restaurant. With such a large customer base, tech and software companies are projected to grow rapidly in the future, and this could be reflected in the stock market, with tech stocks yielding higher returns than the rest of the market. Technology can be seen as the driver for many advances in other industries, which is why demand for new technologies and software has continued to be persistent. We can also measure the future potential of the software and technology industry by looking at the growth in the number of jobs in the industry. In 2020, the software industry alone employed 1.85 million people, and that number is only expected to get larger. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates that the employment of software engineers and related fields will grow to be 22% in the next decade. This number is almost triple the average projected job growth by the BLS over all industries, further highlighting the future growth potential of the field. Technology is also becoming a larger part of the US GDP, growing from 9.2% in 2017 to 10.5% in 2020. Additionally, future innovation could drive the technology industry to even larger heights. Many industries have benefited from the recent breakthroughs made in the field of machine learning and artificial intelligence, and this field has seemingly gotten more and more popular as time goes on. Given this abundance of new innovations and high demand, the technology industry is poised to become one of the fastest growing and most important industries in the United States.
Renewable energy is energy which comes from sources that replenish themselves quickly enough for human use, such as solar, wind, and hydroelectric. Meanwhile, non-renewable energy comes from sources which either don't replenish themselves or take extremely long to do so. This includes coal, natural gas, and nuclear. Whether it's in a century or a millennium, we will run out of non-renewable resources, and its related industries will die. The switch to non-renewable energy is inevitable, and it is a vital part of our next stage of economic growth. Energy as a whole is an essential part of our modern economy because electricity is used in almost every other industry. Evident in its rapid growth over the past few decades, as seen in the image to the right, the renewable energy industry is more relevant than ever before, as the importance of renewables and environmental sustainability has been increasingly recognized by not only individuals and businesses, but even entire nations. We have seen a 90% growth in renewable energy from 2000 to 2020 in the United States alone. By the end of 2020, renewables made up 29% of total global energy production. This steep upward growth trend of the renewable energy industry is guaranteed to continue. But why? There are many factors that influence the growth of renewables, like market conditions, such as cost, and sustainability goals, such as increasing the number of countries setting renewable energy policy targets. However, we would like to elaborate upon two other key causes for the growth of the renewable energy industry: policy regulations and substantial renewable technology cost decline. While the United States established the Energy Policy Act of 2005, creating a required renewable fuel standard for corporations, the federal government has taken further action to increase the use of renewables by providing financial incentives. In the United States specifically, two federal tax credits have encouraged the use of renewable energy: the production tax credit and investment tax credit. While renewable energy was initially more expensive than non-renewable energy, its costs have dropped rapidly due to improvements in technology. In 2020, many renewables became cheaper than even the cheapest fossil fuels. This gap will only grow as renewable energy technology continues to improve. Before, the advantage of non-renewable energy was its lower cost. Now that it's losing this advantage, non-renewable energy is rapidly taking its place. It is increasingly unprofitable to use fossil fuels over renewables. And this is our bibliography. Thank you for listening.